We're in Rancho, Mirage, California for a special Showbox Saturday night. The fight card opens with a 12-round lightweight bout. Unbeaten Lenny Zappavigna steps up in class to face former world title challenger Fernando Angulo. Lenny Zappavigna, better known as Lenny Zappa from here on in, is 22 and from Sydney, Australia. The Rocky movies inspired him to get into boxing at age 11. He had 90 amateur fights, turned pro almost 4 years ago. Zappa describes his style as 100% aggressive. He's got speed too. Good puncher, makes for exciting fights because his pressure style leaves him open. He's been down twice in the first round of fights, is coming off a unanimous decision win in his American debut in this building last December, and is now 22-0 with 15 knockouts. Take us behind the numbers, Steve.
Well, Nick, the good for Lenny. Down under, Zappa beat two good fighters in Tommy Brown, who was twice a world title challenger, and former IBF champ Gary St. Clair. The bad, Brown and St. Clair aside, Zappa's opposition in Australia was poor. 14 of his 21 victims had losing records. And the pace, Zappa's zipping along. 22 fights for a 22-year-old is quite a lot. It's also quite smart because walk-in pressure fighters usually peak fairly early.
29-year-old Fernando Angulo is a 10-year pro born in Ecuador, living in Venezuela. When he was 7, he ran away to live in the jungle for months at a time. This went on for years. He turned to boxing at 16, 35 amateur fights, and since turning pro, his high point came 4 years ago when he lost a decision to then world champion Juan Diaz. He then won 4 in a row, but has lost his last 2, suffering multiple knockdowns in his last fight 10 months ago. He took this fight on 12 days' notice and says he's 80 to 85% physically ready for it. Angulo's fun to watch, free-swinging puncher, the stiffest test yet for Lenny Zappa. 22-6, 14 KOs. What's behind those numbers, Steve?
Nick, for Angulo the good, in 2007 he scored consecutive upset wins over Patrick Lopez, who was 11-0, and Damian Fuller, who was 30-4. That proved he was dangerous even on the road. The bad, Angulo's dropped 2 in a row. Not so bad losing to Anges Anjaho, who's borderline world class, but he most recently lost to Ahmed Diaz, a fighter he had previously beaten. And good and bad, Angulo's been stopped only once, 8 years ago. And he went the distance with a prime Juan Diaz. But last September, he was dropped 3 times in the fight against the aforementioned Ahmed Diaz.
And so, ready for opening action, undefeated Lenny Zappa is put to the test against veteran Fernando Angulo in a scheduled 12-round lightweight bout. Let's go to ring announcer Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to you and welcome to Agua Caliente Casino Resort Spa in Rancho, Mirage, California. We have a big night of action coming your way, a very special edition of Showbox, the new generation, and it's all brought to you by Gary Shaw Productions and Showtime. Tonight's action is sanctioned by the California State Athletic Commission. The chairman is John Frierson, executive officer George Dodd. This championship attraction is sanctioned by the International Boxing Organization. The supervisor is Jorge Alonso. Introducing our 3 judges scoring from ringside. From Huntington Beach, California, Jerry Cantu. From Anaheim, California, Johnny Davis. And from Kent, Washington, Glen Hamada. Introducing our 3rd man to the ring, the referee in charge of this bout, Pat Russell. All right, fans, here we go. 12 rounds of boxing scheduled for the vacant IBO Lightweight Championship. Introducing to you first on my right, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing yellow, blue, and red trunks. He weighed in at 138 pounds. His record, 22 wins, 6 losses, with 14 wins coming by way of knockout. From Caracas, Venezuela, by way of Sucumbíos, Ecuador, introducing Fernando La Fiera Angulo. And And his opponent across the ring on my left, fighting out of the red corner in this 12-round vacant title bout. Wearing red trunks with white trim, he weighed in at the lightweight limit of 135 pounds. He is undefeated in his campaign in the ring with a record of 22 wins, no losses, 15 wins coming by way of knockout. From Sydney, Australia, introducing Lenny Zappavigna. Once again, a referee in charge, Pat Russell, now to give instructions.
All right, there's the line right there. There's a line right there. This is the IBO Lightweight Championship of the World. Good luck. Come out at the bell. Buena suerte, señor.
The contract for this fight, 135 pounds. Angulo got down to 138 and couldn't lose another pound. As a result, 20% of his purse goes to the California Commission. And the rules here in California, the ABC rules, no 3 knockdown, no standing 8. That's pretty much universal now. Can't be saved by the bell in any round. The referee or the doctor can stop the fight.
And Pat Russell, our experienced referee, gets him started here. A thing to remember mentally, guys, that Angulo feels humiliated by Zappa's camp, who made him try to lose those 3 pounds. And he said he's going to take revenge on their fighter. He just feels that Zappa's not in the same league. But Zappa, all in red, coming forward as we would expect.
And in terms of amateur experience, Zappa won a bronze medal in the Commonwealth Games. Angulo only in Ecuador, his amateur bout, so virtually nothing. And in terms of pro experience, you see Angulo turned pro a long time before, hasn't had that many more fights. He's been inactive.
Watch the body shots. We've seen return fire from Lenny Zappa with a right to the body. Now he follows up with a left hook to the body. But the Ecuadorian Angulo also sunk a body shot in. And they clash and come together here. And
Break.
Russell breaks them up.
No. Break.
Angulo again said he's not quite physically there, and he tried to lose the weight, and in 2 hours of trying, he lost a half a
Free up
pound.
those hands. Don't need me. Free him up.
And
Angulo,
you know, he doesn't look as cut as we've normally seen from watching tape.
Yeah, he looks a bit dry, and he could be drawn a little bit, but I think as later the fight goes, it'll tell. Right now, early on, I think Zappa still has to be careful.
Man, shots on the way down there.
No knockdown. Come here. Box.
Angulo lacks a lot of polish. He wings those wide shots, but Zappavigna says he wants to be more elusive and not. He's all
Watch
about
your hands.
pressure.
Let the hand go. Let it go. Zap. Let it go. Stop. Break.
With that rat tail hairdo, Kostya, one of the greatest Australian fighters, transplanted.
Man, but that makes Kostya look like a crew cut.
I'd like to see Nick with one of those.
That thing is serious. Hook again by Angulo. So Angulo now moving to his left. He wants to create some space here, but it's Zappa trying to come forward. He gets clipped near the back of the head, and Angulo starts to taunt Zappa. Again, remember the mental games here. Angulo is red hot at having to put up with what he feels was humiliating treatment from the Zappa camp.
Right. I feel personally, if Angulo would have had a proper training camp, maybe 2 months to prepare for this fight, I mean, it could be very well a toss-up. But he's doing some great things right now. And like you said, he has a chip on his shoulder tonight.
You know, Nick, Angulo's fighting the way he did against Juan Diaz. We think of Angulo as aggressive, throwing wide shots. He's trying to box, use his jab, and as you said, create space against the pressure fighter.
Well, what Juan Diaz did so well is control Angulo with his jab, and Zappa, just to ping pong off that point, said he's going to work off the jab more. We'll see. Good body shots from both guys, and a pretty spirited first round here in Rancho, Mirage, California.
Time, no punching.
So Lenny Zappa is undefeated and the young gun here, and he talked about how he's going to take apart his toughest test yet.
Early rounds, you know, I'll be in, you know, my defense, you know, I have my hands up, head movement, try to use feints, tricks, try to catch him, counter punch him, you know, hopefully get him with a good right hand, break him down to the body, and just box him, man, and really just keep the pressure on.
Please cut him off, Leonardo. Hey, don't follow him. Don't follow him. Listen to me. Listen to me. Don't follow him. Don't follow him. Understand? Yeah.
Action from round one. Watch the feet, don't watch the fists.
Mouthpiece.
And right there, you see clearly Zappa's left foot. He steps on Angulo. That's why Angulo went down. Pat Russell right on it.
We heard the advice from Tommy Mercuri in Zappa's corner. Don't follow him. In other words, guys, cut the ring off or just don't chase this guy.
Yeah, cut the ring off for sure.
Good left hook from Zappa. Zappa's in the red. He's undefeated, and the 9-year pro is Fernando Angulo. Says he's fought much better opposition. He had a right shoulder injury. Everybody's got an excuse, but it was down 3 times his last fight. Said he injured his shoulder before those knockdowns and couldn't do a thing. Yes. The important thing, he's here against Lenny Zappa and resents being the B corner, but has said, you know, he's used to being the first guy in the line of fire all his career.
Yes, he never got anything. Nothing ever came easy for him. He had to be ready at all times, and you know, for fights like this, you get called in on the last moment, and you got to upset somebody. So he's used to being in this position.
Hey, how about nothing easy if you go live in the jungle when you're 7 years old and you got to eat? Who do you go after, the piranhas or the snakes?
Man, never been a world champion from Ecuador. He'd love to be the first. Might be too late for him, but he's still trying.
Story and Steve Farhood. I knew you'd get that one.
Yep.
Oh, and Lenny Zappa with a nice body shot. Angulo looks pretty controlled, but he's got to let his hands go, and they think that he's got very slow hands. And as you see, Angulo's got his left hand very low. He feels he's out of range, but Zappa's got good hand speed.
The key for Zappa here, remain patient. They say that's one of his weaknesses, that he hasn't developed, hasn't matured yet. Lacks patience sometimes. In a fight like this, he's going to need patience.
Yes, but you know, all that comes with experience. You got to get the, you got to crawl before you walk, and this is a big step for him. He's fighting a guy, I feel, that'll show us something.
Nice return fire from Zappa with a counter left hook to the head.
No, stop. Break. Now go.
Hands up.
Combination tried by Angulo, nothing getting through, but on the return comes Zappa. So very impressive that he's counter-punching so effectively.
Especially with that left hook. That's
Both
his best
look
punch.
at me. Come here. Come here. Come here. Nothing behind that head. Box.
So Lenny Zappa flashing a hand speeds here. He wants to work off the jab, but he's basically forgotten that now.
Stop. Let him out. Let him out. Right. Now go.
This is going to be interesting if it starts to go long, guys, because, you know, Angulo's not there completely physically, and a 12-round grueling fight is not
Let him go.
to his favor.
Let him go.
No, not at all. And also with Zappa, I mean, he's used to guys falling when he lands that big shot to the body and connecting to the chin. I mean, he may get some resistance tonight. How can he handle it late?
Stop. Break. Listen for the bell. Time, no punching. Corners.
Muy bien, campeón, ¿ok? Vamos a empezar a apretar un poquito a partir de este round, ¿ok?
We're going to start to put a little more pressure this round. Breathe. Are you feeling okay?
Mira, vamos a empezar a apretar un poquito de este round.
We're going to start to put more pressure this
Cuando
round.
cambies con él adentro, le pegas y te vas enseguida, ¿ok? Vas a tirar el upper por dentro. Y cuando él te tire a la derecha, le metes el upper de un costado, porque está levantando el upper. Vamos a empezar a apretar un poquito. No tanto.
Action from round two. Nick made reference to the counter punches. There it is, and that was a nice left by Zappa. Knocked Angulo off balance. Again, Angulo off balance, and those are the kind of punches judges see, and that will win you the round. And I gave Zappa that second round.
Yeah, and I think a critical thing for Angulo, you're sort of in a catch-22 here. You know, if it starts to go long, if you blow these early rounds, how do you play catch-up? You know, he's not a hellacious puncher by any means. He's active, but it could be a problem.
No, stop. Just step back. Step back.
I think he had some moments in that second round. He landed some good shots, and we'll see.
They want him to put more pressure on. You heard it very clearly from his trainer for the first fight together, Ramon Catua. So Angulo's got a lot of obstacles he's jumping through and over.
Zappa has to be careful not to lunge. And when you don't jab first, you're more likely to lunge because you don't have a sense of the distance.
And as a 22-year-old, it's excusable, but it's something they vowed to correct and really get on that jab and set up the power shots. As Antonio said, when guys aren't falling over just from your breath, it's a different story.
And it's tough to jab against a moving target, too. And Angulo's been mostly a moving target.
Which will play into the later rounds. Can he keep moving? Nice as he whips a left to the body of Lenny Zappa and a right counter. So now they are mixing, and Angulo almost lost his balance and went down, and he's holding on.
Stop.
I thought it was a very telling exchange. Angulo got the worst of it and started to back off.
Let him go.
Yeah, he got caught with a short left hook.
You know, he wanted to stand up to Lenny Zappa's power and make him feel the heat. Instead, there's a booming left hand from Lenny Zappa.
All right, watch your head. Stop. Watch your head. Watch your head. Step back.
It looks as Lenny has gone left hand crazy right now.
Box.
So a bad start to round 3 for Fernando Angulo.
Let him go.
He's got to regroup and start winning some rounds.
Don't punch. Don't watch your heads.
Again, it's scheduled for 12, though. Zappa walking to him and waiting and taking some shots on the gloves.
Holding. Stop.
One thing I like is that Angulo doesn't seem to be throwing as wide as we've seen in some of the tapes.
Very true. The best exchanges, he's been throwing pretty much straight shots. I thought it was a good sign that Angulo came out boxing. If he felt that he was dead at the weight, then I think he would have shot his load in the first round, second round. Make it a short fight because he knows he can't go 12. Remember, this is 12, not 10.
Left hook again from Zappa, and he pushed him down, and Russell caught it immediately.
Come here. You okay? Está bien? Box.
Stuff happens, huh?
Yeah. What I'm surprised at, Lenny said that he's a natural left-hander. We can do a lot of things with both hands, ambidextrous. Why don't he have a strong left jab is beyond me.
Free hands.
He digs to the body beautifully with the left hand. Why doesn't he have a consistent jab?
Because he's 22 and trying to load up, and as you said, he's had so much success with power shots early in his career. But as you move along from fringe prospect,
No, behind the head. Stop.
You gotta guys don't go away so easy. You gotta have another plan. End of the third.
Time. Corners.
Boxing here from Rancho Mirage. Second stage of the Super 6 World Boxing Classic begins March 27th. The Matrix Andre Durrell faces current tournament leader, the King Arthur Abraham, beginning at 10:30 here on Showtime.
Action from round 3. Fierce exchange here. This is what we were hoping for. Angulo, a little wide, a little wild, and I'll tell you, Angulo's gloves almost touched the ground there. That came very close to being a knockdown. Again, Zappa's exchange, Zappa's round. And then here we'll see Angulo go down, and it looked like he ran out of ring there, and his foot kind of slipped off the apron, and that's why he slipped down.
Hey, Milfcott.
Guys, let's go. Thank you very much. We're walking. Here we go.
Good camera work, zeroing in on that eye of Lenny Zappa. Looks a little swollen. And a thing to consider, it's got those pronounced eyebrows. He's been cut around the eyes, and early in his career, I mean, it's a very young career. So we will watch that if Angulo could hit the mark. And that's critical. You know, he misses a lot. He's got to be accurate. And not stand around and eat those punches.
Free those hands, Lenny. Let him go. Free those hands. Angulo, let him go. Free hands.
What's your sense, guys, of Angulo tasting Zappa's power and how he feels about it? Does he look any more tentative?
I don't think he looks tentative. That's not his way. But whether he can absorb the shots that he used to absorb is another question. Because he always had a pretty good chin, but last time out, 3 knockdowns. You know, I don't know if it's the same Angulo.
Well, if he's not weight drained, I think he'll be able to take the punches. He's handling them so far. He got caught with a little sneaky left earlier. But I think they're having some heated exchanges. I mean, as long as he's landing as well as Zappa, I mean, you got to give him a chance in this fight.
It slowed down quite a bit action here in the fourth all of a sudden as they cranked down the volume a little bit. A lot of holding, a lot more, but free hands there.
Free hands.
A lot of butting, too.
Oh, there's that uppercut, or I should say the hybrid uppercut hook from Zappa, he really does love that shot.
Let it go. No.
And Nick, the most impressive man in the ring right now to me is Pat Russell. Because he's letting them fight.
Behind the head.
You know, referees don't always do that, but on the inside, and that should be to Zappa's advantage, but nonetheless, he's letting them fight, letting them work. If they have an arm free, you're not supposed to break.
Good free hands, let him
Good
go.
uppercut by Angulo just then.
I got to tell you, that wild rat tail from Zappa is really starting to swing in towards Angulo. How distracting would that be?
I don't think it'll be distracting unless he just gets it whipped in his eye or something, but I don't see that happening. I like the 1-2 that Angulo's throwing right down the pipe. He's finding a home for that shot.
Yeah, he looks much sharper than what we've seen of him.
Break. Step.
He looks like a young Meldrick Taylor in his face.
In his face, yes.
You know, as a dilemma here, he wants to be the tougher guy, but this young gun from Australia looks very strong. Good hand speed as he rockets a left hand to the jaw, now goes downstairs with that hook.
Free up those hands, don't mean me. Stop. Break. Take a step back, Lane. Take a step back.
Action picks up here in this fourth.
It's become a pretty grueling fight, a physical grueling fight, and the fact that it's 12, not 10 will be interesting. And again, we will have to revisit whether Angulo can go 12.
Zappa's been 12. He's been 10 or more three times, actually. So for a young guy, you know, he's been rounds.
I don't think he's been 12 like this.
Welcome to the pros, right?
Break, take a step.
Angulo knows the tricks. As our opener here heads to the 5th round, we see Vic Darchinyan, double belt holder, super flyweight champion. You see him getting wrapped, and the people in the other corner, Rodrigo Guerrero's men, looking on as Vic Darchinyan gets set to defend those 2 title belts here on this special Saturday night edition of Showbox.
Oh, listen to him. Don't fall in front of him. You're falling in front of him. Side to side, man.
Yeah.
Don't fall in front of him, really, man. He's going to only hit you.
Action from round 4. Look at Zappa. He's ready to eat an uppercut right there. And Angulo, the veteran, was smart to throw it because Zappa's leaning over during the infight.
You tag with him. You understand? Come on. Let's go. Let's go. Towel.
Mouthpiece.
Tommy McCurry wants Zappa to be more elusive, but it's very difficult to get into a mindset of a guy who's so aggressive to, hey, move your head, elusive aggression, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, they got to get in the gym and really work and develop that jab because, you know, if you can't hit a fighter with a jab, it's going to be very unlikely that you can hit them with the straight right and the hook. He needs to develop a strong jab.
He's getting away with it with some really, really punishing hooks against Fernando Angulo, though.
I think it's a pretty close fight, but if you want to give an edge, you have to give to Zappa based on the fact that left hook is the hardest punch in the fight.
Yeah, I mean, you very well could give Zappa every round in a real close fight, wall to wall.
Yeah, but I've given Angulo 2 rounds.
Yeah.
Wow. Good exchange there, and Angulo sort of leaning back there as Zappa tries to lean on him and muscle him.
But in those exchanges, I mean, you don't know who's getting the best of them. Both of them are landing hard shots at that moment.
Impressed with Angulo that he is hitting the mark a lot more. His left hand's very low, but Zappa driven back a little bit with that wild overhand right. They know that that's his big punch, the right hand. And there's the exchange as Lenny Zappa forgets about defense. Again, that left eye swelling a little bit.
Looks raw. Yeah.
They need to end swell right now and start putting that on it between rounds.
Let his hand go. Let his hand go.
Halfway through round 5, and Angulo looks pretty fresh.
Don't hit the kidneys. Break. Take a step.
We talked about this being Lenny Zappa's toughest test. So far, it is. 12 rounds, though. Combination taken partly on the gloves.
Let those hands go.
I think a fight like this, the way it's going, I think Angulo can fight this fight for as many rounds as he needs to. But for Zappa, I think he needs to start being the younger fighter. Stop walking straight in, give him angles, use your jab, and put those combinations together. I think he can turn the tide in this fight.
Zappa just looks like he's throwing stronger shots. You know, Angulo couldn't make a dent in Juan Diaz. He never slowed him up. He does find the openings and hits to the body very well, but I don't think with the kind of force that we see from Lenny Zappa. Angulo wants to create a little distance there. Now it's the jab missing and double jab missing again. So Lenny Zappa having some trouble with the jab and with that tail, because that hair tail
Free up that hand. Free it up. Stop.
He's trying to shake it off in his eyes, so he's got a few distractions here.
It's making me dizzy.
I'm telling you.
For whipping around his head.
Honestly, I mean, I did Paulie Malignaggi fight when they cut his hair off, Buddy McGirt.
Let the hand go. Let it go.
What a mess that was. Interesting that Angulo starts most of the exchanges. Zappa stands in the pocket and doesn't fire the jab and waits for Angulo to start.
The bell.
Yeah, he's looking for that big punch.
Don't hit that.
And that's bad for a young fighter to
it.
get into that one-punch mode right now.
Time.
End of 5.
This is your fight. We have to throw more punches. Remember, we cannot win by decision. We're going to the next round. Put more pressure and hit inside. Go low. Concentrate on what you got to do. Start to throw punches harder. He's slowing down. Let's go. 7 more rounds. He can't handle 7 more rounds.
Yeah, but the question is, can you? So far, though, so good. How do you have it, Steve?
48-47 for Zappa. For Zappa, I have to call him Zappa, not Zappavigna.
Any inclination that Zappa is indeed, as the trainer of Angulo suggests, slowing down?
No, I don't think he's slowing down. I think he needs to be busier, and as to echo what Antonio said, he needs to prove he's the younger fighter.
All right, both of you, let
I'll tell you what, they sent the lion at the prey this round, and it looks like Angulo's now stepping up the pressure. He's landed 2 good 1-2s.
And they want him to work the body. We'll see if he does there. But yeah, he's starting to let his hands go. And Zappa's sort of frozen in his tracks at time. It definitely stops him.
Let him go, Lenny. Let him go. Don't hit that kidney. Step back. Angulo, step back. Take a step. Right. Let him out. Out.
In the red is Lenny Zappa. He's undefeated, just 22 years old. The 29-year-old Fernando Angulo, though, is giving him a handful here so far in Rancho Mirage on this Showbox Saturday night. Angulo, the busier guy again.
I got it. Step out. Break. Now go.
Took this fight 12 days notice. Again came up 3 pounds overweight.
Let him go. Angulo, let him go.
It looks like there's a blood.
Yep.
Zap, you don't need me. Let him go. Stop.
Zappa's right eye.
Right. So he's been prone, as we said, to cuts, and it's happening now. And we'll see if that unglues him or unhinges him a little. Shaking his head a lot.
All right, you're holding him, Lenny. Let the head and go. Let it go, Angulo. Free him up. Don't need me.
And
Step
I'll tell you,
out.
Zappa's he's in a bruising fight here.
Stop.
Yeah, he's swelling real bad right now.
And it's on his face, isn't it? You could see. This is more than I think he was hoping for, obviously.
And I wouldn't be surprised if before long he's bleeding from the left eye, too, between the swelling and the budding and how physical this fight is.
Boy, Angulo took those shots on the gloves. Now came back gloves from Zappa. Zappa with some fairly good defense, but he's been eating more shots this round as Angulo is getting busier and putting more pressure on, as his corner instructed. Wild uppercut. And again, watch that wildness.
Don't hit that kid.
You know, as a young fighter, Lenny Zappa not countering that wildness.
Zappa doing a lot of squinting and blinking. Not a good sign. Blood's going in his eye, Nick.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Let his head out.
Hey, he still has a puncher's chance. You know, he's an aggressive young guy, but he's going to learn a lot from this fight, win or lose.
Oh, they're talking such big things, maybe getting ahead of themselves, guys, about, you know, basing here, the big fights in the U.S., focus on American exposure. He's got to get out of this fight with a win.
Got to.
But Angulo is not going away so far as we approach the halfway mark.
Got a cut in the right eye, Doc. Stop. Break. Step out.
So they will be looking at Lenny Zappa closely, his corner and the
Don't
doctor.
hit the head. Let him go. Let those hands. Stop. Stop punching. Listen for the bells. No, no, no. Don't do that. Break.
Looks like virtually an even fight, guys, halfway through now.
Time. No punching. Corners.
Sit down. Sit down. Sit down.
Sit down.
Breathe nice and deep. Breathe nice and deep.
Yeah. Breathe. 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 Yes. Real nice.
Caused by a punch, Coach. You see it, take a look.
Yep.
Beautiful round. Beautiful round. Just sitting in now. Let's get it. The doctor wants to look. I'll call him up on the time.
No worries.
Always remember your right hand.
Then you listen to me, man. You gotta get your fucking right
Action
hand.
from round 6. The referee ruled that the cut over Zappa's right eye came from a punch. It was likely one of these punches, probably one of the left hooks. But that's very significant that it was ruled open by a punch and not a butt. You know what? Maybe Pat Russell got it wrong because we can't be sure that that butt right there opened the cut,
let me see
but
it.
very easily it could have.
Boy, it looked pretty clear, though, that Fernando Angulo has yanked himself evenly into this fight. I mean, he is really giving Lenny Zappa something to worry about. Now, that hesitation starting to get obvious in Lenny Zappa, the young guy, certainly not getting unglued, but in red, he's not, things aren't happening like magic anymore for him.
And that's the last thing you want from a young up-and-coming fighter, to let an old veteran like this get any confidence, because they feel like they can take it all from you on one night.
And this is going to come down to intangibles. You know, it's going to come down to stamina and heart and maturity, and those things are hard to develop when you're only 22.
Yeah, or maybe a big punch, because this guy really can hit.
Yes.
And again, we forget, he's been down twice early in fights, Lenny Zappa, so he's vulnerable as well. Man, Angulo, I give him a lot of credit. I'm very impressed. We thought, man, this guy's going to drain himself dry trying to make weight yesterday. You know, I was concerned that he might go down in flames early.
He's strong. I mean, that right hand he just threw, he's strong. He said he had 6 different training sessions yesterday morning in an effort to lose weight. He lost a half a pound. I'm not buying it. he's got too much energy and strength to have killed himself dry trying to just make weight. I don't buy it.
And,
let the head go.
And Steve, he can't miss with the 1-2. I mean, it lands every time.
Break, take a step.
So Lenny Zappa's defense needs plenty of work, it's obvious. You know, I guess he's relied for the most part, my offense is my defense, and that's what happens when you're blowing over people.
Yeah, and he's a pressure fighter. Pressure fighters are going to get hit.
Yeah, try to tell him to be elusive. That's the question.
But right now, if you didn't know which guy was the pressure fighter, you might not be sure who was.
Yeah, Angulo knows how to lean out, create that distance when he wants. He's either way in or way out. And, you know, I'm impressed. He doesn't have to get set to punch.
And, you know, he don't have to find Lenny either. He's right in front of him. It'll be a difference if he was giving him lateral movement, if he's, you know, feinting him before he jabs and throws his punches. That'll confuse Angulo a little bit.
Be interesting to see what happens in the corners. Just the instructions at Angulo's corner. You turn the tide here. The young guy, what do you do, man? You got to make some adjustments, and you know it's defensive.
Zappa's left hook is natural and pretty. The right hand, he slaps with it a lot.
Yeah, he just shortened it up there, and it was just a little tap. But we haven't seen that bruising left hook from him in a while.
Let him go.
Yeah. Talking about Zappa in red. So some of the steam taken out of him by Fernando Angulo. Angulo first and Angulo's last sometimes, and nothing coming back from Lenny Zappa.
Don't do that. Stop. Watch your elbow. Step out. Let him out. Break. Now go. Stop at the bell.
Angulo got clipped on the chin. Through 7. Coming up next. Is he being thrown to the wolves? His demeanor suggests not. He's Rodrigo Guerrero in the biggest fight of his life. His U.S. debut, a world championship fight against who many call one of the most exciting fighters in any weight division, 2 belt holder Vic Darchinyan. That's our super flyweight title fight next.
Came to win the title here. Throw 2 rights and then the left, or 2 rights, but switch it up. He's guessing your punches. He's very intelligent, so you got to think about it. Put more pressure, more punches.
All right, headed to the 8th in a very intriguing fight. Fernando Angulo in the gold, blue, and red has made a fight of it and seemingly taken over the momentum against Lenny Zappa, the undefeated young Australian here in the United States for only his 2nd fight. And through 7, Steve, how do you have it?
Let him out.
67-66 for Angulo.
Free hands. You don't need me. Free him up.
And in terms of
Angulo, free him up.
how often these guys have fought long, well, you see Angulo's a veteran. He's lost his share of decisions, but Zappa only 4 times, 8 or more.
Oh, now they're slugging together, and you know, Angulo is just very happy to trade there as he's winging shots. That left hook landed. He's trying to line up Zappa and backs him off with the right.
He's having all kind of success, so, you know, he's building in confidence, and I have to really give his corner credit. Even late as the 8th round, they're making adjustments, and that's great.
Doctor going to look at that face. Oh, that is ugly, and it's on the eyelid.
What caused this after that punch in the first one, Doc?
No worries, man, no worries.
Hang on. Hold still. Let him go.
Again, caused by a butt, Pat Russell says. A butt. And the important thing here, if Zappavigna can't continue, it goes to the cards, guys.
If the butt opened a new cut, yes, but he ruled before that cut over the left eye was started by a punch.
Yes.
If it's made worse by a butt, I think it's still a TKO.
A TKO, right. If Zappa can't continue. Wow, Angulo's getting mean in here.
He must have threw about 8 left hooks all on the eye. I mean, this is the type of adversity a young fighter.
And he's in deep now. Lenny Zappa's holding on, and he's become unglued.
Stop. No more. Next time a caution.
Angulo's turning into a dogfight right now.
They are. It is.
He's pouring blood, guys. Pouring blood.
Well, I see you holding it in front of your shirt here, guys, and we see, how do you dig in and bite down here when you're suddenly behind and in the worst fight of your life? Bad things are happening to Lenny Zappa, courtesy Fernando Angulo.
Yes.
It's all about experience against a young guy, and we'll see.
Let the head go. Let it go.
If you can overcome it and come up with something else, because it's not worked for Lenny Zappa in red. Here's a punch. Another punch. Good shot, right hand.
Stop. Step. Don't punch. No punching. Step out.
The bloody war now in the 8th round, scheduled for 12. And now exchanges again, and it's Zappa holding on.
Don't punch.
Lenny Zappa's got a lot of heart, guys.
He does have a lot of heart. He's still in there trying for that knockout.
That blood just pouring down right side of his face. It's on the eyelid. It's very bad. And he's got to sense that terrible urgency here.
And he just got butted again.
Step back. Stop. Let him go. Let him go. Listen for the bell.
Angulo lines him up for a right hand before the bell. Wow.
Tell. No water anywhere next to him. No water anywhere next to him. Sit here.
Relax, breathe.
Zach. That round took a lot out of you. Zach. Wash.
We're winning the fight down the show.
That's it.
I'm gonna have the doc take a look when we get this, okay?
Great, brother. Great. Pretty nice.
There's panic in the corner of Lenny Zappa.
Action from round 8. It got pretty wild here, and you see right there that Zappa's right eye has opened up. He initially did not respond well, but as the round continued, well, all of a sudden he was landing a big right hand and trading shots with Angulo. I think Angulo's pride is keeping him in this fight because, as you said, Nick, he was humiliated at Team Zappa's insistence that he try to make weight, and he's fighting like a very proud fighter right now.
I'm total agreement. I feel that is a motivating factor for this guy. You know, I warned Pat Russell, referee, not to wear a white shirt because it's turning red before our eyes.
15 seconds went by between rounds before they applied pressure to Zappa's cut. Not good.
As we said, panic in the corner.
Let him go. Step out. Yeah. No.
Whoa.
Get over here. Go over there.
All right, he's going to warn him.
This one. 1 point for punching on the break.
That could be disastrous for him.
No more.
You know, they've warned him not to punch, hold, and hit that way. But no emphatic warning, and all of a sudden the point's taken away.
Right. I didn't see Pat Russell warn him once, so I'm kind of blown by the fact that he immediately took a punch, and it wasn't intentional. I don't think.
No, I don't think it was. He hasn't warned him emphatically, but he has instructed him.
Nice one, too.
And by the rules, you don't have to. You can take a point after you've warned him in any manner.
Let it go.
Depending on how bad a foul it
Take
is.
a step out. Watch your head.
Angulo looks like he is the teacher and the pupil.
A point for on the break.
After school getting to be getting penalized for not doing his homework.
And you know, Angulo really felt like looking at Zappa's record,
let the hands go.
that he really hadn't fought anybody of his caliber. And they picked him because he came off of 2 losses, got knocked down a couple times in his last fight. And I asked him, why did they pick you?
Yeah, he said he's used to being lined up again and in the line of fire. And doesn't care, all in it himself. You know, new trainer here. Comes from Venezuela, 12 days notice, and he is fighting his heart out here and arguably winning this bloody war.
Take a step.
Lenny Zappa in red, got to get it going offensively, but can he shake off that eye and forget about it? Blood streaming for the last couple of rounds. The kind of things that could unhinge a fighter. But man, we haven't seen that rocket left hook from him in many rounds, guys.
This is where the 22-year-old should be turning up the heat, but he's not doing it.
All right, you're holding. Let him go.
Well, we're deep in the 9th round.
Take a step. Watch your heads.
I don't remember seeing a cut that bad in a long time. I think Winky Wright suffered one against Bernard Hopkins. That was really bad, but I don't remember one, Steve.
His eyelid is shredded. Yeah. I mean, it is shredded.
He's hanging in, but he's not doing enough to win rounds. Angulo, though, losing the point, again, could be deadly for him. That could be very difficult in a very, I would say, arguably close fight.
Especially with that point deduction.
Yes, that's why.
Listen. Time, corners, go back.
Campeón, quedan 9,
Let's go, champ.
11 y 12, ¿ok?
9,
Entonces, ya él está entregado.
10 and 11 is left. Let's go.
Defendiéndose. Hay que hacer un esfuerzo estos 9 minutos y atacar y atacar.
Let's make a big effort here.
Tiene que tener mucho cuidado.
Attack and attack. Be very careful with the referee. When the referee...
Escucha, quedan 9 minutos.
Actually, from round 9, you take a couple of looks at this punch on the break. Well, clearly it came on the break, and Angulo was guilty. And now let's listen.
All right, watch your head. Step out. Let him go. Step out. No. Get over here. Go over there. This one.
3 commands by the referee. Step out, let him go, and step out again. So I think that's why he took the point away.
Well, Angulo speaks no English, but at the same time, it should be pretty clear to him.
Yeah, universal language.
That he wasn't asking him what he had for dinner. Here comes Zappa now getting on that jab. He's got to do something offensively here. These rounds are too close, and arguably he's lost several of them. Certainly second half of this fight. That blood now, they've stemmed the flow a little bit, but it is bad.
And I think what Zappa needs to do, he's having opportunities because Angulo right now is being aggressive, and he has opportunities. Just let your punches go. Stop looking for the knockout. Just let them flow, and you'll be surprised what you come up with.
He tried to go over the top with a right counter.
Lenny, let him go. Step back. Break. Good.
Zappa just walking to him again. He's just throwing a jab out there. It's well short. He's trying to find his range, and I think his composure become the offensive machine that has mowed down people. He's gunned down 22. He's gunned down these people as a 22-year-old. 22-0.
Let him out. Step. Break.
This could be a nightmare for him. And Angulo keeps the punches flowing. And what he's done is he has discouraged Lenny Zappa's pressure with some of his own.
You know, we've talked about Zappa not throwing the jab. I think if he wants to get back into this fight or win this fight, he has to go to his strength, and that's that left hook. Yep. We haven't seen it.
Instead, he's backing up, waiting for an opening, trying to crack with an overhand right. Angulo's right in front of him. And he's holding him as a veteran would with one hand and still hitting with the free one.
it seems like every right hand is a clubbing shot. He's not throwing Zappa is not throwing that right hand straight, and he's missing the mark.
That was Angulo's guilty sin going into this
behind
fight.
the head. Free up those hands. Stop. Let him out.
I haven't seen Zappa put anything together offensively in many rounds.
Yeah.
Second jab sunk home. Zappa tries and connects with those hooks to the body.
Second time this round he's done that very effectively.
Boy, he's bleeding again, guys. Wearing red was a good idea. Oh, nice combination from Angulo, and on the turn, he buzzes Lenny Zappa.
Yeah, he's hurt right now. He's looking to finish this fight right now.
In the 10th, this is graduation time for Lenny Zappa. He doesn't like what he sees. He's flunking this exam, guys.
And look at how Angulo wouldn't let Zappa hold. He kept backtracking but punching at the same time. A real veteran move.
Angulo just swinging into rhythm there. He'll lay out that jab.
Free hand. Stop.
That eye is bleeding bad. I wouldn't be surprised if Pat Russell took him over to the doctor again.
Closing out the 10th. Can Lenny Zappa find something else to pull this fight out and keep his record perfect?
Step back, break, listen for that bell.
We will see.
Corners.
Now cut out.
Be smart. Don't try to beat.
Yep, set.
We don't need to try to.
I need a wet towel, wet towel. No, I need another one. Lenny. Why are you trying to move for, buddy? Why? Why? Can we box this round?
Yeah.
Box it.
I promise. Yeah, cut when you get a chance, coach.
Box it.
Boxing beautiful, brother.
Listen to me. Listen to me. Box. Win the round.
Boxing smart. Keep your hands up. Move around back on your feet.
Action from round 10, a close round until right there. Angulo with a 1-2 and follows with a hook. Zappa sticks his tongue out, but punches landed, and it was enough to give Angulo the round.
Listen to me, Lenny. On that left hand high and go to your right. Jab, snap your jab.
Lenny.
The emphatic message, put punches together and get back in this fight. Again, I haven't seen Zappa control Angulo.
Stop.
6 or 7 rounds now.
Yeah,
Perhaps that cut started to unravel him, though,
yes,
mentally.
Most definitely. And at a point like this, when nothing's going right, all kind of thoughts are going through your head. You never saw yourself coming over here losing a fight. I mean, right now, he's scared to death inside
you guys are holding
that he
now.
may
Don't need me.
come
Stop.
up on the
Just
short
let him
end tonight.
Angulo's got that point deduction for hitting on a break. And Steve, into the championship rounds now through 10. How do you have it?
96-93 Angulo.
Comfortable, huh?
I got it. Step out. Watch your heads. Watch your heads.
Interesting, Tommy Mercuri says,
now go.
Box. In other words, they're starting to believe we're not going to knock this guy out. And according to Steve's card, they're going to need a knockdown at least.
Can he win rounds by boxing?
Don't do
That's the
that.
question. I don't know if he does it well enough.
He's running out of clock. 2 rounds left. Overhand right. He's really tried to stick that overhand right. He's had some success, as Steve mentioned, with that hook in the last round, but it's Angulo coming forward. He's tasted Lenny Zappa's power, and he's not afraid of it.
Yeah, I mean, unless he gets caught right on the button with one of those punches he don't see, I think he'll be able to handle it. And one thing is interesting, his facial expression hadn't changed the whole fight. You don't see desperation, you don't see fatigue, you don't see any of that in Angulo.
He's a machine here. He really is. Looks remorseless. You know, again, we go back to how humiliated he felt by Zappa's camp and vowed to take it out on their fighter.
Break. No shoulders.
Well, he's a man of his word tonight.
It'll be so interesting, guys. I mean, we still got 4 minutes to go, and look, we're scoring the fight unofficially, but really, who knows?
Let the head go. No.
Who knows how the judges are going to see it?
Free up those hands. Stop.
You know, I'm not surprised there hasn't been a knockdown because as wild as these guys have been at times, when you try so hard for a knockdown, every punch is thrown, they're thudding shots. There's no snap on them. So that's why we haven't had any knockdowns.
Boy, Zappa going to those hooks again as he buries 2 and then a third to the body of Angulo.
Lenny, step out. Break.
You got to take your hat off to the young lion. I mean, he could have quit at any time, and he's still here trying, and it's not over.
Oh, he's doing well this round, I would think, but now he's holding on.
Free up your hand. Don't hit the kidney. Stop. No. Stop.
You just wonder those 3 good body shots from Zappa don't seem to have deterred Fernando Angulo in the least. Angulo, not a big hitter. You know, he's a free swinger, but not a bruising hitter.
Yeah, because he's not likely to land any shots the opponent doesn't see. He telegraphs, like with that shot.
Yeah, and he's caught on the gloves by Zappa. Zappa had his moments in this round. Wasn't enough. He needs rounds now, and there's only one to go in this 12th rounder.
Let's go. That one's caused by...
Shitty on him, bird.
One more round,
Zach. Cold tap.
On the other side, was caused by...
Good boy, Lenny. You're a fucking champion, mate.
Hey, please, everybody. Listen to me. Fucking listen to me. They got one round to go.
Yeah. Most important, you got to throw punches, hard punches. Just 3 minutes left.
Let's win this fight. You want this title? Yeah. Box. Don't get right. I don't want to see 1 minute till it. 1, 2, hook. Okay.
That's it, last round. 3 more minutes. Let's go.
Yeah, 3 minutes, and Lenny Zappa now bleeding from both eyes. That left eye caused by a punch. It's academic. You know, Zappa is not going anywhere unless he gets knocked cold here. He's not quitting. It's apparent. He's in the red, and his undefeated record and these aspirations to become a serious prospect in the world very much under fire and in serious jeopardy as Fernando Angulo has schooled him down the stretch.
Looking at Angulo's hair, it's hard to tell where the dye job stops and the blood starts.
Watch your head, step out. Right.
You know, being 22 years old and, you know, it's still young in the boxing game. I mean, he's fought gallantly tonight, and it's not over yet.
Well, we don't know if he's behind, Antonio.
We definitely don't, but we feel he's losing this fight, and he's going to need a big round or either a knockdown or a knockout to win. But, you know, it's not over for him. And I think the age difference, he fought a man tonight.
All right, stop.
You know, he didn't fight a young fighter just coming out, somebody that's going to lay down. He fought a man tonight, and it looked like the man is really taking the youngster to school.
Absolutely.
And Nick, we have to revisit the fact that we weren't sure Angulo was going to be able to fight 3 rounds, much less 12, given that he was supposedly dead at the weight. He doesn't look like a fighter that lacks energy tonight.
No, and now what I like so much is he's neutralized a lot of what Lenny Zappa's done best. He's gotten around his speed. You know, he's forced him into getting into a battle and a firefight, and here we go again as he's inside, and he's been the tougher guy.
Let him out. Yeah, he's been a tougher guy, and that's why I mentioned the age and the age difference. And he's just a hardened pro.
You know, it's classic showbox, though. It really is. Put to the test is Lenny Zappa. As Angulo plows forward, it's been bloody and it has been grinding. And there's a minute to go.
And not a good sign for Zappa's future that at age 22 he's bleeding like this.
Right. Yeah, those cuts have been an issue, but nothing as badly as this, as we say, Steve.
Free him up. Angulo, out. Right.
Welcome to America.
Angulo blocks him with a left hook, and Zappa got desperate. A wild counter. Boy, look at Angulo lining him up for the right. Hooks to the body from Zappa, and Zappa going all out as he clipped Angulo twice. Angulo elects not to hold on, though.
All right, no. Stop, right there. Out.
As they make it a war.
Now box.
And both guys very content to do it down the stretch. 15 seconds.
No, out. No, stop. Break. Box. Stop the bell.
That's the way they should fight 12 rounds, fellas. A fight to the finish. And the crowd on its feet loved it. I hope you enjoyed it. There'll be a sense of drama and tension taking over right now. Oh, yeah. The panic is over. There's nothing either guy can do.
115, 112 Angulo on my card, Nick.
Yeah, I couldn't see him losing a fight either, Steve. Antonio?
Neither can I. But we've seen stranger things with boxing.
Oh, yeah, that's stranger.
Man, Angulo getting the ovation. He's won the crowd here. Has he won the fight and derailed Lenny Zappa's aspirations? They love him here. Give it to him. He's an hombre. Came in 12 days notice. Couldn't make weight. Looked dry as a bone, as Antonio mentioned. And we didn't know, as Steve had talked about, whether he could go deep. And he did, and finished the stronger man.
Lenny's milking it.
I don't think the judges are influenced.
He's a lot tougher than Frank Zappa, I promise you that. One of your favorites, Nick, I know.
Yeah. Wow, he looks fresh, this man.
12th round, toe-to-toe exchanges, as was the case in a couple of the other rounds. They both wanted that 12th round. Maybe they both needed that 12th round, or thought they did. Pretty free swinging. This is not beautiful boxing by any stretch, nor is it sharp punching. But they were fighting each other's fight, basically, fighting the same way. I gave the 12th to Angulo, but I'll tell you, Lenny Zappa, tremendous effort. And boy, did he grow up today.
Okay. Pat Russell explained the reason for the point deduction that Angulo deliberately hit Zappa on the damaged eye at the break. So the explanation there, because that 1 point swing could be critical.
Sure.
Angulo losing that point. We will see. Man, I'm tense.
Hey, that was a fight. You know, that wasn't pretty. It was a brawl.
Well, you have to think, Angulo, what does this put his career if he's able to get this victory tonight, coming off of those 2 losses?
All of a sudden, you know, he wants to be 140, he said, but you're getting ahead of himself. We want to see who won this one as we go to Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 12 rounds of action, we have a unanimous decision. Here are the score totals. Judge at ringside, Johnny Davis scores the bout 114 to 113. Judges Glen Hamada and Jerry Cantu both score the bout 116 to 111. All three in favor of the winner of the vacant IBO Lightweight Championship, Lenny Zappavigna.
Suggested strange things have happened. I'll tell you, besides being surprised, I really feel bad for Fernando Angulo. He deserved a better fate tonight, in my opinion.
Nick, the scoring wasn't even that close. Close on only one card, Johnny Davis' card. The other cards, 116, 111, 116, 111. 2 veteran judges. That means they scored the fight 8-4 and gave Angulo only 4 rounds. I don't see that.
I don't see it at all. And, you know, being a fighter myself, I understand where he's at. I mean, it's hard not to be discouraged and ask yourself what happened, but they have to go back and watch this tape. I gave this fight to Angulo going away.
All right, so Fernando Angulo goes down in defeat, and very interesting as we're now looking at the card. They gave Lenny Zappa the last 2 rounds on one judge gave him to him. Everybody gave him the 12th and deciding round. Could have been the difference, and a big hot start for Lenny Zappa.
That was the difference. There
as Angulo on the cards was playing catch up. They were close rounds, could have gone either way, and Lenny Zappa leaves Rancho Mirage with his unbeaten record intact, but he will need some stitching up and need some work in the gym.